This is the Solo Coach podcast, where it's all about everything you need to build your business solo. Look, building a business alone can feel almost impossible. There's just so much to get done. That's just your doubt talking. I'm Michelle Sarah, and I'm here to talk you through building a one-woman coaching business from the ground up. I'm talking marketing, time-saving systems, AI shortcuts, client attraction, energy, and belief, all to help you find your way, no matter your age, stage, or starting point. Ready? Let's get going. How to use your story to attract coaching clients. The real visibility strategy that is so underrated. There's a lot of pressure in the coaching space to be more visible. Post more, share more, talk more. Yes, there is. Visibility is important, but that doesn't mean you have to be everywhere. It's not effective if your people aren't everywhere too. You don't need a perfectly curated content calendar or a polished personal brand either. Definitely not a polished brand. Certainly work towards consistency in branding across the board, right? That helps for you to stick in people's minds more. But don't worry about it being polished. What you really need is this, a story you're willing to tell. Because in a crowded market, the coaches who attract the most aligned clients aren't the loudest, they're the realest. Why storytelling is your most powerful client attraction tool. When you're building a coaching business, you'll hear a lot about funnels, email marketing, and strategies. I'm a big fan, right? You're going to hear me talk about these things all the time. But what actually draws people in, what makes them able to relate to you and trust you is your truth. Your story is what creates connection. It's what makes a potential client pause and think, she gets me. She's been where I am. She's the one I want to learn from. That's not something you can fake, and it's not something you can replicate with fancy marketing copy either. It comes from being willing to share your truth in a way that feels grounded, integrated, and intentional. But don't worry, you don't need to overshare to be real. Using your story to attract clients does not mean dumping your entire life story online. Actually, I don't recommend it. I mean, you could certainly put it in a book, but you don't have to fill your emails with it. Strategic storytelling means choosing moments that matter. And I want to repeat that, strategic storytelling means choosing moments that matter and moments that your audience can relate to. It means reflecting on your own turning points, beliefs, and breakthroughs, and sharing those pieces in a way that invites your audience to see themselves in it. Don't be afraid to show that you're flawed, because we all are. Here are a few good questions to guide you. Is this part of my story resolved or integrated? Yeah, can I tell this part of my story? Is it resolved? Have I moved past it so now it's something I can reflect on and actually provide value to my audience through? Does this reflect a belief or a challenge my ideal client is facing that I've already faced? Can I use this to inspire, clarify, or encourage someone else? If yes, then you've got a powerful story worth sharing. Where to use your story in your marketing. If you want to attract coaching clients with authenticity, you don't have to become a content machine. Although, admittedly, I have been told that that's what I am, a content machine. And for those people who are in my inner circle, you know that I'm experimenting with that to find what I actually enjoy, what I love, and what I want to keep doing, right? So it's okay to be a content machine if that's what you really enjoy doing. You have fun with it, but don't feel like you have to become that. You just have to be consistent in the way you share your story across your marketing ecosystem. One really good story can create a movement. Truly, I've seen it happen. Here are a few key places to start. Your email welcome sequence, where trust is built fastest. I have an email welcome sequence. I have it pretty much on hold at the moment because I'm going to say I'm in the midst of, and that's not true because I started it and then stopped, but I'm getting back to it. I have a plan in place to revise and kind of renew and refresh my welcome series. And so I have it on hold temporarily. But the original welcome series is very story based. Every email tells a story, like the stalker at my door. They told my mother to not bother. when I was born. These like hooks that bring you in and are emotional. And I have had people, and this has been because that welcome sequence has been in place for years. I have people still, up until the time that I paused it, hit reply back to say they could relate to my story. They would share a story of their own. And it was just super, super powerful. So I'm still keeping many elements of the story. I'm just refreshing and updating. But it's a powerful thing, point being. So email welcome sequence is a great place to put your story, because for those people who are brand new to your community, it gives them a chance to get to know you. And oftentimes people will even say, when you use story very strategically and effectively, and you're not afraid to be vulnerable and to share, people will feel like they know you. And that's so huge. It's so huge. You can share your story in social posts that introduce or reintroduce you in your about section of your website. You can launch in your launch or sales emails. So you can always use story in any of your emails. You can even use story on sales pages. You can use story when you speak in seminars or in online summits, or part of a signature speech if you're a speaker. You can use it in guest podcast interviews or other collaborations. And hey, your story doesn't have to be told all at once. You can reveal it in layers, one piece at a time, letting people get to know the real you behind the business. It's part of what I did in my welcome email series. Is I think there was about 7 or 8 emails that I told stories in each and every one. And so it pulled people through, waiting, because I would always hint, in one email at the end, I would hint to the next story that I was going to tell, so that they're watching for that story to show up in their inbox. Storytelling and client readiness go hand in hand. One of the most overlooked parts of storytelling is how it helps qualify the right clients. When you share who you are, not just what you offer, you invite the people who resonate with your path to take their own next step. You also give potential clients a glimpse into what it feels like to work with you. They get to hear your voice, maybe if you have, if they're listening to parts of your story in an audio format or video format. They get to feel your values and sense your energy. Yeah, it doesn't matter what the format is, what the medium is, they're going to sense your energy. And this is what filters in the right fit clients, the ones who are aligned and ready. I mean, I want you to think about this. If this is something I encounter frequently, is difficulty for coaches, difficulty in finding their voice, because a lot of times they're coming from a more technical professional background that required that they keep a certain professional voice with like the blinders on, right? Or boundaries, and they couldn't deviate from this certain voice. And so when it comes to their coaching business, then they go right into that professional writing mode, right? Or speaking mode. And, there's benefits to that. But in a coaching business, when you need to be able to connect and your audience needs to be able to relate to you, that's just not going to land. They can't relate to you. They can't connect. So when you share your story, again, whether that's in written format, video, audio, doesn't matter what it is, they're going to sense your energy, and you're able to filter out the clients that are not a fit for you and filter in the clients that are a right fit for you. So it's another way of, because just today I had someone share with me their concerns about attracting the wrong clients. Like, we were talking about certain pain points, and they said, yes, that's true, but I don't want to attract this type of client, this specific kind. And this is one way, because you're going to have filters in place in all of your marketing to help bring in the right fit client and filter out the client who is not a fit for you. And this is just another way, right? Another way to do that. You don't have to be louder, just truer. I love the idea of that. Just be truer. Be transparent. Be okay with being vulnerable. Be you. If you've been hiding behind polished messaging or overthinking what you should say, this is your invitation to shift that. The over-polished message does not make an emotional connection. Yes, can create an appeal for an aspirational identity, and that can work in certain kinds of brands. But for most of us as coaches, it doesn't work. And, this is going off on a little bit of a tangent, but also I'll give you examples like a high level lifestyle. So coaches who represent a certain lifestyle, like like a world traveler and super wealthy, right? Super posh and luxurious. Um, for that matter, someone who coaches around wealth management, right? There's a certain aspirational identity that comes with that brand, and there better be some stories behind that, right? But for most of us, aspirational identity will play a part, but it isn't going to be the leading factor. And in fact, so that polished message, it's not how polished the message is so much as how resonant is the message. How much does it connect with your audience? You don't need to be everywhere. You need to share who you really are, flaws and all. That's how you build a coaching business that lasts. That's how you turn truth into magnetism. Hey, thanks so much for joining me for the Solo Coach podcast. It means so much to me that someone out there is listening. Now, if you know it's time to do something different about your business, and if it is, consider joining me for my Happy and Successful Business Mastermind, where you can get clarity, support, and a plan. I'll leave details in the notes below. I also want to share a free resource for you. If you haven't already subscribed to my newsletter, Find Coaching Clients, I encourage you to do so. I'll deliver to your inbox tips and strategies that make finding coaching clients for your business much easier. I'll see you next time.